Nigeria versus South Africa. This is one of the longest running beefs between countries in the world. Let's look at 5 incidents, in no particular order, whereby things have escalated a little bit too far. At number 5, the building disaster. Before Nigerians were known for hijacking buildings, back in 2014, 81 South Africans died when a building collapsed in a church compound run by controversial preacher TB Joshua. To say that the building contractors crushed the assignment is an understatement. And to make matters even worse, when Joshua was quizzed about this incident, he took his answer from the 9/11 playbook and blamed it on a mysterious plane that flew over the building. I'm starting to see what the TB in Joshua actually stands for, because that's bullshit. An investigation revealed that the building collapsed due to structural failure as the guest house was built without proper planning and permissions. To this day, none of the victims of the families have been compensated despite numerous lawsuits against the church and the construction company responsible. This is the highest number of fatalities of South Africans recorded anywhere in the world, and another reason why to hire Zimbabweans to build that Rondalville out at the back. At number 4, the Nigerian government versus MTN. For those of you who don't know, MTN was founded in South Africa, but over the decades it has expanded to other countries with great success. But in one particular country, MTN has had consistent difficulties with the government, and that country in question is Nigeria. In 2015, MTN was hit with a $5 billion fine. Nigerian regulators accused MTN of failing to deactivate 5 million unregistered SIM cards, which they believed could have been used to organize terrorism and facilitate crime within their country. And that's the joke right there, considering what we are going through on a daily basis. After numerous appeals, MTN settled the fine, which was later reduced to 1.6 billion, but it would not be the first or the last time MTN would be shaken down by the Nigerian government. Market experts believe that the fine was rather excessive at the time, and it was considered an income generation for the government, which at the time had suffered losses due to decreasing oil prices. At number 3, the arrest of Pastor Omotoso. I remember the first time seeing this dude, and I was like, he's a con man. The Nigerian televangelist was arrested on the 21st of April 2017 on 63 charges ranging from rape, sex trafficking, sexual assault, and racketeering. The trial has been on and off for the past 7 years, and it has shed light on how the pastor allegedly created a religious cult which he used to control young female churchgoers into massaging his feet before he sexually assaulted them. And that's kind of sick, because the Bible frequently associates feet with spreading the message of peace and goodwill. Some of the victims were alleged to be as young as 14 years old. Remember, this arrest was the first of its kind in South Africa involving a religious institution, and the first to involve a Nigerian pastor. At number 2, we have Amapiano versus Afrobeat. This one I don't consider to be that serious. But what we have to talk about is the one song that spurred the Nigerian and South Africa crossover in music. And that track was the MG and AB Crazy song, Rands and the Nairas. It was never about the Rands and the Nairas. It was always just about the Rand, and a reason to make a quick buck and draw much needed publicity to Nigerian artists. With the equivalent of 1,000 Rand buying you 87,552 Nairas, it made perfect sense. If you watch that music video again, you'll notice that the Nairas were used as a substitute for confetti. Nah, I'm just kidding. But you catch my drift on this currency? In the same year, a host of Nigerian artists were featured on SA Hip Hop tracks, and one Nigerian artist who was the beneficiary of the body bag treatment was Ice Prince. Not only was he ethered on his own track, the N-Word remix featuring Super Mega, but to add injury to insult, he was also bodied again on the track Bay Coop. And that's how you send a person back to their own country in a body bag, alive, Burna Boy. This symbiotic relationship did not benefit South African acts, but was rather used as a catapult to launch Nigerian artists' careers. So when Nigerians started to claim the Amapiano sound, it was only right that the South African public put their foot down. At number 1, the Miss South Africa pageant. Is Miss South Africa still a thing, you ask? Well, if you want to take the step up from being a budding Instagram model, you couldn't tell me who the past 5 winners were if your life depended on it. But this year's contest split the country in half like Nigerian cuisine. I can tell just by looking at pictures of that food that it does not look tasty. And that is exactly what happened with a particular contestant who took part in this year's pageant. Not only was she of mixed heritage, but somehow it was not the mixed masala we were used to. What could make a country accept this contestant over that contestant? The simple answer is media. Take a look at this.
Because Mellowed 5 is mellowed in wood. It makes everyone feel welcome. For longer, Mellowed blend. Goose goose.
And that's the power of media and perception. Now, some South Africans have a serious case of PTSD when it comes to Nigerian nationals. If you've been listening to the previous incidents I've spoken about, you can gather that those victims have family members, and those incidents have a knock-on effect on the psychology of black people in this country. Can you imagine the uproar on social media if the building disaster happened in this day and age? How many celebrities would come out and blindly support a cause they are not 100% informed on? Like, how tone deaf do you have to be not to be able to read the room on the issue of illegal immigrants in South Africa? This whole situation has sparked the conversation on what it means to be South African. But I don't think it was just pure coincidence that things just happened to line up like this. Her bio not having an SA flag, the dubious video of her supporters, and the Nigerian wedding videos. When did Miss South Africa start rivaling Big Brother Niger for ratings and share a core audience with them? South Africa is the safest country in Africa for other Africans. We are not afforded the same safety in other countries. Our identity as South Africans was ironically being sold right before our very own eyes on the pageant. We all know how the story panned out. And for the first time, the Twitter warriors won. No DNA, just RSA. Zoch signing out.